Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the last episode, we talked about a roadmap, right? Our community should have a roadmap that lists the milestones of what we should achieve, and that roadmap should be cascaded downwards from the national level, community level, to the family level, to the and also the individual level. In this episode, we would like to explore the role of social organizations such as Yayasan Mendaki, the Association of Muslim Professionals, and several others. We know that social organizations are trying hard to solve this problem of underachievement. And going by the data, we can say that we have not yet succeeded. For example, if we take PSLE mathematics, standard mathematics, we have not yet succeeded. Here's some ideas for social organizations. It's not a critique, it's just some suggestions. Let's say we have a tuition program and we've been doing it for years, for example. Well, perhaps we should take a long-term look at the program. I'm going to take mathematics as an example. Mathematics is unique when compared to other subjects. For example, if you're having a language tuition program, you can just run it in that year. You don't need to worry so much about the context and perhaps the prerequisites. But for mathematics, the prerequisites are rather important. If the child has not mastered fractions at the primary school level, he is not going to master it at the secondary school level. So these concepts need to be retaught. That's point number one. Point number two, even if you retaught them, you reteach certain basic concepts, they may not still get it because of misconceptions. See, for years, you have the subconscious acquisition of wrong concepts, strategies, and therefore, a normal tuition program may not just cut it. Point number two. Now, you need to also look at when the tuition program starts for mathematics. A child is struggling at maths at primary 5. At the end of primary 5, is promoted to primary 6. And our tuition program, the registration starts in January. We probably start the program in February. But in January, he is learning new things in school. You know what I mean? And in February, when you start the program, he is lagging behind in the primary 6 syllabus. In fact, he's lagging behind in primary 5 syllabus. In fact, he's stuck with misconceptions from the early years of primary school learning. How do we think it's logical for us to put the child through a program in late January, early February, and expect the child to catch up with the curriculum, to be on the same speed as the curriculum in his school, and at the same time clear misconceptions from the past? Can you see how unwise this is? The program should have started earlier. So maybe you are thinking first week of January. I say, look, even earlier than that. But at the end of the primary 5 exam, you already know which students have failed, which students need a tuition program. And if you're working with schools, with the ministry, they are more than happy to share this information with you, because it means you are able to intervene during the holidays to help solve the problem. But if you are going to look at the problem only in the next year, when they are starting the new curriculum, new syllabus for primary school year 6, then it's not wise. You had 1.5 months of school holidays, or maybe 2 months, and they were not doing anything during the holidays. why do we not arrest the problem during the school holidays and then continue the program in January? Smarter, right? We would be able to clear some of the misconceptions, teach some of the basic skills, so that when he starts his primary 6 program, he doesn't need to catch up so much. In fact, he has already learned some of the things he has not mastered in the early years. So this idea of registering in January, starting perhaps in late January, early February, it is not wise. So that's one thing, to take a long-term approach. The other thing is tracking, right? And it's not just in numbers. Sometimes, I know, we have our KPIs, or press releases, and so on and so forth. And so the numbers would be numbers that are the bulk numbers. But for as long as you have bulk numbers and you do not know the individual that you are actually trying to solve the problem for, there's no way for you to track. Because once he enters into secondary school, the school may not have the contact numbers. So there is a need to invest beyond tuition program in relationship building with the students and the parents and the families, of these students. You have to do that so that you can take a long-term approach. Don't look at the issue as I'm gonna have from February till September, October to solve this problem. So you can start even at primary 4 when student X fails and have a program that starts at the end of primary 4 right until he goes to secondary school. You don't need to stop at the end of a year. At the end of primary school, you don't need to do that. You can track and intervene right until Sec 4. Why don't you do that? It will really help, right? You will be able to communicate with the children. You will be able to advise the parents. You will be able to ensure, inshallah, that after he or she has finished his PSLE, there's some programs to keep the mind active with the subject matter that you have taught and the subject matter that he or she is going to have to master in secondary 1. For as long as we take a very specific approach, a short-term approach, and that's what we have been doing all this while, the problem will always recur. So that was mathematics. Maybe social organizations can also look into the mother tongue issue. Look, I can say for a fact that Singapore is struggling in helping our students, our citizens master mother tongue. This is where you can come in. You don't need to run the program the way the school runs it. You can run it the way I showed in the sample.
Saya tidak boleh bercakap Melayu-Melayu.
Okay. Okay, ready Okay. Hutang emas boleh di...
It's fun. It's engaging. It is for communication, not for exams. And when students get lost in the process of communication, they will naturally master the language, which is slipping from our grip. So if you want to make a difference, I think the social organizations must look at this. You have the resources. You have the legitimacy. If you were to ask for volunteers, for tutors, teachers, even from the ministry, for help, you are a legitimate organization, entity to do that, which is something that I, as an individual, is going to find it quite difficult. People are going to ask, who are you? Do you have an agenda? And so on and so forth. So the social organizations can experiment with various means of communication. But it should be not for a select few. The participants should not be for a select few. The participants should be the masses of students. Let us not look at the problem of underachievement in our community as a glass that is half empty. I'm telling you, the glass is half full. Because if we solve this problem, this issue, we have something to offer a great number of countries whose citizens are struggling with underachievement, academic unachievement, economic unachievement, and so on. So I want you to see the bigger picture. We have our community. Our community is a small community. It's quite easy to reach out to the community. If we work together and we come out with a solution, we experiment with many solutions, and then we share with the world the successful ones, our Malay Muslim community of Singapore will be making an impact worldwide. So what am I saying? I'm saying if we do this right, we will be a light to the world, a torch to the world. These are opportunities for us that Allah has given us, and we have some very intelligent adults in our community who can help to solve this problem. So we can be a light to the world. Do you not want to be a light to the world? You can really contribute to humanity. And that is our duty as Muslim. It's not just about the Muslim community. It's about humanity. And so I urge the social organizations, maybe you can have an open call for proposals on programs that should be run by social organizations. What are the issues that should be tackled? Start the discussion. I'm sure you will find very unique and perhaps effective solutions. Don't worry so much about people who's going to condemn you. Whether you do it right or do it wrong, there will be people who will criticize you. It's part and parcel of the whole game. It is to some degree a game. But remember, you must not shy away from the game. Just do your best, sincerely, and leave the rest to Allah. And I'm sure Allah will help us. Because remember, Allah will help those who help themselves. That's a verse in the Quran, right? So my suggestion is very simple. Start the discussion with the community. Don't worry so much about the backlash. Some people are so worried. Oh my, no, what if they say this and they say that? Look, take it as part of the healing process. The healing process of an underachieving community with some underachieving members. And I'm one of them, right? Don't give up, be positive. Some people may say that's so naive. It's not naive, that's so naive. That's positive, that's believing in Allah. That's what Surah Asr says. Right? If you get criticized, see it as an aspect of the truth. Remember, there's 4 items, right? You need to believe, you need to do good work. So do that call, that open call. And then you get criticized, it's okay. Take it as part of the truth. And then the next question should be, okay, I agree with some of the criticism. What shall we do? How shall we patiently persevere? And then you get all keys covered. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.